Chelsea. I'm an actor, and when I first heard of this programme, Who Do You Think You Are, I thought it was aptly named, because like most actors don't know who they are. And I certainly spend most of my life playing other people, being other people. I think I've reached that stage where I'm reflective now. I want to see where I come from. Apart from my parents, of course, I know nothing. I mean, my parents' parents, I'd love to know. It would be a revelation, I think, to find out what is the fact of the family.
Robert Lindsay Stevenson was born in 1949, the eldest of 3 children. He grew up in Ilkeston, a small industrial town in Derbyshire.
I think what my family background is, very working class. There was a steelworks in the town called Stanton and Staveley, which employed most of my family. I can't imagine that I've come from anything very far away, because all the stories are usually associated with that small town in Derbyshire.
Robert's beginning his journey by returning home to Ilkeston.
Some days I feel nervous, then I feel excited. Today I'm feeling like, let's get started. And I think some days will be a laugh, and I think some days will be a shock.
Ilkeston is home to generations of Robert's family. His parents, Norman and Joyce, lived there all their lives.
I think my dad's one of the most honest men I know. A real spirit, real soul. Mum had a great spiritual sense. She used to read fortunes. She had a crystal ball which hid for years in the pantry. My dad never knew about it. People used to come round and she used to read the crystal ball for them.
Sadly, Joyce died in January 2000.
But she was a very powerful presence, Mum. Very powerful. I miss her calls, I miss her comradeship, I miss her sense of fun. She always managed to make us laugh.
Robert's father, Norman, still lives in the home he shared with Joyce.
Who do you think you are? Very good. What the hell do you think you are? Yeah. Hey, excuse me, is the kettle on?
No, but I can soon get it on.
In you go.
Right.
Robert's starting his research with Norman's parents. Grandfather Jesse Stevenson was a labourer at the Stanton iron foundry. His wife Mary worked in a local underwear factory.
There's my grandma.
Yeah, there's me and Mum.
Do you know when Grandma came to live with us?
Yeah.
The one thing I remember about her was she used to eat those chocolate Brazils.
Yeah.
But you never told me there were chocolate Brazils, did you? Because I used to find Brazil nuts by the side of her bed, and I used to eat what I thought were her Brazil nuts. Until years later you told me she sucked all the chocolate off. Because she had false teeth.
What do you think I left them there for?
So, who have we got here? Oh!
And there's
This is your dad.
Dad. During the war, he had his chest all smashed open.
First World War.
He got blown up, and he finished in like a big dustbin. And all these bricks come in and smashed all his chest open.
What?
And
where was he? Where was he in France?
it was in France.
In the trenches.
In trenches and this and that.
Oh my God! I didn't know
Anyway,
that.
he got over it. They got him reasonably right, and he didn't come out of the army till the end of the war.
Was he ranked?
He was serving as an ordinary private soldier in the Sherwood Foresters, which is the local Nottingham
Regiment. But he survived the First World War. One of the few who did survive.
Robert never knew his grandfather Jesse. He died of pneumonia 10 years before Robert was born.
I'm really interested in Jess now. I would really like to know whether he did serve in the Sherwood Foresters. And what I'd really like to find out was where he served in France. And how the hell he survived after being blown up. And that is what I think I need to find out. Because, you know, Dad's the last generation. We're all moving on. And I think this is the time to find out.
If Jesse did serve with the Sherwood Foresters, there should be a record at the Regimental Archive in Nottingham.
Oh, boy.
Major Oliver Hackett is the archive's curator.
Right.
Provided I've got the right key.
Oh, so...
This is the archives of Sherwood Foresters. And our reserve collection here, so you sit there and we'll have a look.
Yeah. I wonder if this will be a dead end.
Well, it may well be. We'll see.
We're looking for Jesse Stevenson.
Jesse.
Stevenson, with a V.
Okay. Right. Right. Ah. We've got a little Jesse Stevenson, 1st Battalion. Joined the battalion 14, April 15th.
Served with D Company.
W stands for wounded. 13th of February 1916. And then he was sent home a few days later. So now the key you've got here to find him further is his army number.
Okay.
So you need to make a note of this.
18582.
Remember that. 185.
Will that give us more information?
That is the king pin.
In April 1915, aged 25, Jesse volunteered to fight. Like thousands of others, he downed tools and headed for the Western Front.
Do you want to see the rifle he carried?
Yes,
If you're
please.
finished tall enough. This is actually a deactivated one. So it's nothing in it, but you would have lumbered around with one of those.
This is a 303.
It is. It's the SMLE, short magazine Lee Enfield rifle.
Wow. My granddad
So
helped
you
us.
would have your steel helmet always webbing on it, his Mills grenades and rations you've been well loaded. And he had a 18-inch bayonet on the end.
Magazine?
Yeah,
How many?
magazine. 10 rounds and one at the spout.
10 rounds and one at the spout.
That's it. That's exactly it. That gives
Wow.
you 11.
That is fantastic. I mean, it is, you know...
That is the SMLE. Lovely weapon, actually.
I think I'd like to know what really happened to him. You know, because it would give me more of a picture of him as a human being, as a person. I really wish I'd known him now. I really do. I would have been great, but I'm going to find out more, aren't I?
The National Archives in London house over 10 million documents of historical importance. Among them, the official war diary for Jesse Stevenson's battalion.
Here we are, the very day my grandfather was wounded, the 13th of February 1916, and it says the weather was showery. Typical Ilkeston weather. In the afternoon, a large burst of heavy shells was put over into Chapelle d'Armentières. Oh, how do you pronounce? Where's my French? Chapelle d'Armentières.
The diary reveals that Jesse was serving in Armentières, a heavily disputed town on the Belgian border. It was guarded by lines of British trenches, which the Germans shelled day and night.
Enemy's artillery, again, very active. One heavy shell struck the machine gun billet, one entered one of C Company's billets, and a third entered one of D Company's billets, grandfather's company in Chapelle d'Armentières. The total casualties in the battalion were 2 killed, 10 wounded. One of the worst days the battalion has had for some considerable time. You bet.
The wounded men from D Company were taken to a field hospital behind the lines. Conditions were basic. The medics often overwhelmed by the sheer scale of the casualties. Some of the medical records still survive.
Oh boy. Jesse Stevenson, rank private. There's his number, 18582. I've even got his height. He's 5'6". He was smaller than my dad. What the hell's this? Fourth finger of right hand has been amputated. Oh Lord, lordy, lordy, lordy. A piece of shell entered the front of leg and pelvis. Operation for removal of shell fragments. Wow. I wonder if that was done with anaesthetic. Oh, Jesse, poor old bugger. The above-named man is discharged in consequence of no longer physically fit for war service. Character awarded in accordance with King's regulations. He was sober, honest, and trustworthy. Oh, my dad is going to love this. I guess being an actor and a complete romantic, I kind of assumed that my granddad would be, you know, some major hero jumping over the parapets and saving people's lives. But just to read that he served well and was honest, sober, and trustworthy. There are not those qualities around very much anymore. You know, I just think he's quite a remarkable man.
Jesse's injuries may have saved his life. In July 1916, the British Army prepared for battle at the Somme. While Jesse recuperated, the Sherwood Foresters took part in the bloodiest campaign of the war. Of the 1,000 men in his battalion, almost half were killed or wounded. In January 1917, Jesse Stevenson came home to Ilkeston. Despite his injuries, he returned to the Stanton Ironworks. In its heyday, Stanton was the lifeblood of the town. Its furnaces fueled by the local coalfields, its forges operated by thousands of local men. The foundry worked day and night, producing iron pipes for export across the empire.
Ilkeston is based around this place, you know, Stanton, it's ironworks. It employed most of the town, and it employed the Stevenson family. And, you know, I've got a spiritual link with it, and I can feel it. You know, it's almost like you can feel the link. It's a perfect day to be here, really.
4 generations of the Stevenson family worked at Stanton, even Robert.
I was employed by Stanton to clean out the sewers. I was shoveling shit. I went down a sewer, a manhole, and at the bottom was shit. And you shoveled it out in a bucket, and a guy pulled it up in a bucket, and he emptied it, and he stayed down there until it was empty. But it was a summer job, and it was horrendous.
By the 1970s, Stanton was in decline, a victim of Britain's wider industrial decay. Local historian Danny Corns is guiding Robert around what survives of the original site.
This is called the shell shop, and it's called that because it was specially built in the First World War for actually making shells for the Western Front.
Oh, really?
The cranes would come along with big iron ladles hanging from them.
Yeah.
Then the hook on the crane would cock the iron like this, and it would pour into the casting, pour into the mould, bits of metal flying all over the place, and the noise, the heat, would be tremendous. It'd probably something like 120 degrees in here.
During the First World War, the shell shop produced over 500,000 tons of munitions.
Yes, it would make shells in here. It'd be a fettler helping to make the shells.
A fettler?
A fettler. A fettler is a man that cleans up all the castings after they've been cast. There's a lot of sharp edges on castings, had to be cleaned off. And they use hammer and chisel. And you couldn't see a fettler without scars on his face.
Oh, boy.
Because chipping away like that.
Yeah, of course.
You know, flying back at you. Bits flying off. They didn't wear goggles like these things in those days, and tin hats, you know.
So I'm just trying to imagine. I've got a granddad who comes out of the First World War.
Yeah.
He's been blown up in a trench.
Yeah.
He survives the First World War.
Yeah.
He's minus a finger. He's got 3 strapping lads.
Yeah.
And he comes here in this bedlam. I mean, from that bedlam to this bedlam.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you imagine? I mean, there's no relief from anything.
Most people worked at least 52 years.
Yeah.
My dad and his 6 brothers all did 52 years at the ironworks. You're born within the shadows of the furnaces. You're born with iron in your blood.
I can't tell you, when I worked here in the 60s and that foundry door opened, the noise, the sense of danger, the banging and the fire and the dropping of molten iron on the floor, and guys just walking through it willy-nilly. And I mean, and there's me absolutely petrified going, no, I'm going to be an artist. I can't cope.
Robert worked his last shift at Stanton at the age of 18. He won a place at RADA, the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art. But as an Ilkeston lad on the London stage, his voice immediately stood out.
This is called Aop Miduk. Aop Miduk. And it's literally a translation of the Ilkeston accent. I think it's fantastic. There's a little poem here, which is written in the Ilkeston dialect. I can remember years ago when I were... I'm going to start this again. I can remember years ago when I were a little kid, we'd always a lot to do, but note for what we did. Up though Dot Hill we'd scrum to play with tubs and reels. In summer, it was so warm. I can't even say it myself. It says loukin, which is looking. Loukin down on grain fields. I like this bit. With bread and cheese and a big bottle of water, go as we plays, for it didn't matter. Oh dear. The irony is, I don't know why I'm laughing, because I used to talk like this. I'm sure I wasn't as broad as this, but I can imagine them at RADA when I arrived. You got away, you. I'm terribly sorry. What did you say? So, I was asked to lose my accent. And probably best. Hey up me duck.
Robert is staying in Ilkeston to find out more about his mother Joyce's family.
I'm interested to see how much I do know. My mother, you see, was a great storyteller. She loved telling stories, and the stories got bigger and bolder as each year went by. So it would be a revelation, I think, to just clear up a few family myths and legends.
One of Joyce's favourite stories involved her father, Raymond Dunmore, also a veteran of the First World War. Raymond lived with Robert's family for 2 years before his death in 1970. But he never spoke about his past.
And Grandad Dunmore here, he was in the Navy.
Is that HMS Prince of Wales?
He was on HMS Prince of Wales.
Can I just say, this is what I was told when I was a kid, that Grandad Dunmore was blown up on the HMS Prince of Wales.
Correct.
And that within 8 hours after being rescued, he was then blown up again by a German torpedo.
Yes, I think I can remember something about that.
So there is some fact in that.
Yeah.
And this was Hannah, his
Anna.
good wife.
Yeah, Anna.
Looking at Grandma Dunmore there,
Yeah.
that's a very attractive woman.
Yep.
And then she gets into her middle late years here.
Yeah.
She's a big woman.
Big woman. And there again, look, strong lady.
What do you mean? Physically?
Physically, she laid a bloke out once.
She laid a bloke out.
Hit him. Yeah.
Raymond Dunmore, I knew a little bit because I lived with him briefly. He was stone deaf. He painted a little bit. He was very, it was a recluse really, but I know nothing about Hannah's life at all.
Raymond and Hannah's surviving daughters, Elsie and Grace, still live in Ilkeston.
I can't describe Auntie Grace and Auntie Elsie, not in the time I've got, but they are the only 2 living sisters of my mother, and so I'm quite anxious to speak to them about, you know, Grandad and Grandma and see if we can trace their history. And this is where Grace lives, so I'm going to take you in, all right? And wish me luck. Hello, Aunt Grace. Hello, Robert. They're here. Were they a happy couple?
No, not really happy. They were like chalk and cheese. They never went out together, but they never argued, never. My mum, she was so outgoing. My mum was always, you know, she was so outgoing, she was out most of the time. And when anybody used to come visit our place, Dad used to go upstairs and start his painting. In fact, he used to live more upstairs than downstairs. He was always painting.
Despite living almost separate lives, Hannah and Raymond brought up 4 daughters. Peggy, Grace, Elsie, and Robert's mother, Joyce.
They married and had you, Aunt Peggy, and my mum.
And there was also 2 more.
Beryl and Pat.
There was Beryl, and
And
there was Pat.
also a brother we had, Bert.
He's a mystery, though.
There was 3 extra.
Yeah.
No,
Beryl.
no, my mum's never mentioned them.
No. But he was a bit of a mystery because we never knew anything about him until during the war this fella in uniform came to see Mum, and apparently this was Bert.
No.
And he came to find his mother.
He'd never met Grandma?
No, he'd never met, and I think that's why he came. But he only stayed the day, and then he went.
Can you remember what he looked like?
Oh yes, he was lovely.
Was he really?
Yeah.
He was handsome, he was.
Yeah,
and
he was.
He got
Tall-
the most
tall?
beautiful skin.
Yes.
And no,
Tall.
medium. Now what's
Tallish.
Not to me, medium.
I wonder what happened to Bert.
Yeah, I
Don't
wonder.
know.
Nobody knew.
So Hannah had a son, Bert, before she was married. After her marriage to Raymond, she had 2 more children, Beryl and Patricia, who both died in infancy. aunts Robert never knew he had.
I remember Pat ever so well because she always used to sing underneath the spreading chestnut tree. She would sit on the step and sing that.
What, Patricia Ann?
Yeah, she always used to
How
sing
did it go?
that. Yeah, underneath the spreading chestnut tree.
Oh, yeah, I know that song. How
And
did
she
it
used
go?
to do the little actions to it as well. He loved her and she loved me. It goes, don't it? Yeah.
Oh.
It was lovely.
She
She was a
was.
lovely little girl, she was.
Oh yeah, that was years back, but I remember very well.
I was quite shocked when Grace and Elsie decided to let loose. Growing up here, people don't talk very much. They talk about the weather, they talk about the shopping, their illnesses, their ailments, but they don't talk about mysteries in families, you know. It's secret. I'm quite intrigued now to find out a bit more about the mysterious Bert, as Elsie called him, and then these two young girls. It's something that they haven't wanted to talk about until this moment of release, this programme, you know, me doing this, oh, we can now say it, you know, because no one's ever talked about this as long as I can remember.
There are no surviving photographs of the three children. But there may be documentary clues at the local registry office.
Here is an unmarried mother, which is my grandmother, Hannah Halsworth, needlemaker. And she gave birth to Herbert Dawson on the 18th of February 1919. Herbert Dawson.
Unfortunately, there's no father recorded next to Bert's name in the register. Without this information, it's almost impossible to trace what happened to Hannah's son.
This poor boy, where did he go? Who looked after him? Who brought him up? And he was the mystery boy that turned up in uniform one day and all the girls. I mean, it's like a movie. Herbert Dawson, my Uncle Herbert. I wonder if he went off with the father. The father must have taken him.
Robert's search for Bert can go no further. But he can find out more about Patricia and Beryl.
Beryl Dunmore. She died of convulsions, bronchopneumonia, measles. She was 11 months old. That was my mother's sister. And in 1939, the 17th of June, this is Patricia Ann Dunmore, female, 3 years old. She died of acute lobar pneumonia. She was 3 years of age. Very sad.
During the 30s, pneumonia was the biggest killer of children. The death of a child was far from unusual. In Derbyshire, 1 in 20 babies died before the age of 1.
I'm just getting a completely different picture of my my grandmother. What tragedy, what tragedy behind the mask. She was wonderful with children. I mean, she really was. I remember her picking up my brother and my sister when they were babies. Big woman. And she nursed them, and she could carry on doing things. She'd have the baby here, she'd be washing, she'd be cooking. Real earth mother. And that must have shattered her, you know, to lose 2 children so young. But what I'm intrigued about now is I want to find out who's where. Yeah, I would love to know where they're buried.
Turn left.
Patricia's death certificate records her place of death as Stapleford, a village near Ilkeston. Kim Tate is the cemeteries officer at Stapleford.
So, Kim, what was this one?
This is what we call the day book. This actually gives the information of the person buried in the graves.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're looking for June 1939.
Mm-hmm. Over. April, May, June.
May, June. Where is she?
Just
Patricia
Dunmore.
Patricia Ann Dunmore.
This will give
Minor.
her status, how old she was when she
3.5
died.
years.
And that's the date she was buried, the 20th of June.
That's today.
That's today, gosh.
It's today.
How spooky.
Whoa! Hang on a
That
minute,
is-
that's today.
That is rather uncanny, isn't it?
I don't think anyone planned that.
No.
No one
How
could have
apt
planned
to
that.
visit.
That is seriously strange, spiritual. My mother was a bit of a psychic, and she would.
She's made you come here today then.
Yeah.
She wants a visit and today's the day. Crikey, that is...
So can we find it?
Yes. From that book, this is what we call the Register of Graves, and we can find the grave number 594,
It's there.
and Patricia is listed here.
It's a multiple grave.
It is, yeah. What we call a public grave. So there won't be a memorial on the grave.
Oh. She's buried with all these children. I mean, ranging from 5 months, 16 months, 7 months, 3.5 years. So these would be very poor people, obviously.
Yes. Having said that, it was common in that time to have public graves, more public graves than there were private graves. And as you can see, most of the burials in there
Are all children.
were children, yeah.
My aunt, Patricia Ann Dunmore. Underneath the chestnut tree, my aunt said she used to sing. I wonder if there's a chestnut tree there. Would we be able to find the site?
We can, yes.
We
yes,
can?
Yes, we're just at the top of the hill so we can go and have a look.
Wow, talk about surprises.
Beneath the hillside at Stapleford Cemetery lie hundreds of unmarked graves for families who could not afford private plots.
I can't believe I'm standing here on the 20th of June 2006. 67 years ago, my grandmother and grandfather would have stood here over their 3.5-year-old daughter. But she's with all those children.
All the children, yes.
All playing under a chestnut tree. Well, a lime tree. She almost got her wish. I only discovered that I had another aunt, you know, a few hours ago, and now I'm standing over her gravesite on the same day, 67 years ago, that she was actually interred here. And it's just nice to know that she's sharing this space with all these other children. I've got a funny feeling that my mother's got me here on this very day, because you couldn't have planned this. I couldn't have planned this. This was total coincidence, or what? My mum talks about her childhood with such love and affection. It was just the best time. And this little one here missed it all.
Patricia's 11-month-old sister, Beryl, is buried in Ilkeston, also in a public grave.
I found it very moving going to the grave of Patricia Ann. I mean, I felt genuine emotion, but I didn't show it. I mean, I did my best not to show it. Now, if I was acting that, if you'd said to me, you're playing a character now and you are playing this character man, then I would probably break down. Someone would write me a scenario where... But the real me will sit on it. Although I'm an actor, I'm like they are here. I'm a very private, an anonymous person, and I'm not very good at being me.
You'll be all right sitting in the back with Jamie.
Robert's time in Ilkeston has come to an end.
All right, well, listen, I'll see you a week on Thursday.
Yes, a week on Thursday.
I love you lots.
Yeah, I'm glad you're good.
It's an old saying. I'm glad he's gone.
Ta-ra, me duck.
Ta-ra, me duck.
Robert has one more mystery to solve. How his grandfather Raymond survived a major naval battle in the First World War. Robert's back at the National Archives to begin his research.
I don't know much about Grandad Dunmore. He didn't talk, he was a recluse and kept himself very much to himself. We were told as children he'd been blown up during a major battle in the First World War on HMS Prince of Wales. He was then rescued, and then, after being rescued, that ship was blown up. So he was blown up twice within one day.
The first clues are contained in Raymond's service record.
Is my granddad, Raymond Dunmore. Oh, my goodness me. He signed up at 15 years of age. 15! Look at all these boats he's been on. Ganges, Edgar, Victory, Prince of Wales. Here we go. Prince of Wales, which he joined on the 13th of July 1914, right down until 5th of April 1917. Goodness me, but very little information.
The ship's log for Raymond's last day aboard HMS Prince of Wales should shed more light on the mystery.
Oh, hello. Oh, an empty book. An empty book. Thursday, the 5th day of April 1917, and after that it's empty. Ship paid off at 9 a.m. Ship paid off. What does that mean? Everyone paid, everyone leaves. I wonder if ship paid off is nautical for sunk. No. Ridiculous. I think that sums up my information so far. Blackout. I've got to go and find someone to explain this. I'm going to do that.
At
3 o'clock they go to action stations.
Captain Christopher Page is head of the Naval Historical Branch.
The end, the 5th of April, which we're looking at now, it says, ship paid off.
That means she was actually taken out of service.
They scrapped her?
Yes. She was an old battleship.
Well, that's not very romantic, is it? I mean, I was led to believe, and I do know, that the HMS Prince of Wales was blown up. I've seen footage somewhere.
No, Prince of Wales was not blown up. She was scrapped. She survived until April 1917 and then was paid off. Where I think we may be able to answer the conundrum about your grandfather is if we look here in the log for April 1915, and you can see that if you go to the 24th, they received on board 500 Australian troops.
Yeah.
And then the ship makes passage, and she finishes up at a place called Gabatepe.
Which is where?
Gabatepe is Gallipoli. It's a cape off Gallipoli. And what has happened here is that the boats have been boats have been put down into the water to take in the first wave of 500 Australian shock troops. Now, it's quite possible that your grandfather, being an able seaman, was a member of the boats companies that rowed the Australian troops ashore.
In April 1915, HMS Prince of Wales provided troops and cover for an amphibious assault at Gallipoli in western Turkey. In an effort to maintain secrecy, British sailors rowed the invading troops to shore. Sailors like Raymond Dunmore.
When the Turks realise that people are coming ashore and they can see the boats in the water, they start opening fire. And they fire at all the boats all the time.
Sunday, the 24th of April...
25th.
25th of April 1915.
Yes.
So this is probably, could be, where he was blown up, rescued and blown up again.
It could easily be. It could easily be. Boats were lost. They were under fire from small arms when they were close, but they were also under fire from artillery. And a near miss from an artillery shell would turn a cutter over. And it's quite possible that his boat was overturned once, twice, perhaps even more.
The target of the campaign was a series of forts lining the Dardanelles Straits, the naval gateway to the Turkish capital, Constantinople. If the guns could be silenced, then Constantinople would be at the mercy of the Royal Navy. And Turkey, then Germany's ally, would be out of the war. The Imperial War Museum in London houses many important documents from the Gallipoli campaign. Among them, the diary of a midshipman, Douglas Dixon. Dixon records how he picked up rowing boats from HMS Prince of Wales and towed them to within striking distance of the Gallipoli coast.
I took my tow to HMS Prince of Wales and embarked the troops. About half a mile off, the dawn began to show over the ridges. About 50 yards off the shore, the enemy opened fire with rifles and quick-firers. In some boats, only about a dozen troops landed. The rest were being killed or wounded, and dead men were hanging over the gunwales. The boat was being hit everywhere. One soldier had a bullet through his head behind his eyes and blinded him, but did not kill him. In the first landing, we landed them on a very exposed point, and the trench was strewn with wounded and dead. But afterwards, we landed them 200 yards to the south, where it was more sheltered. I took 3 tows from a transport in number 2 billet, and while I was waiting to collect a 4th tow, a boat got a shell in her below the waterline and sank immediately. She was full of troops. My granddad was in this. I put my boat alongside and picked them all up. He picked my granddad up. I was backing out when a shrapnel burst over the boat and killed one of the soldiers just near me, and a bullet went through the boat's side, just missing the stoker's head. I just managed to get back to the transport, then dropped. Wow. My God. I've got this image of my granddad rowing a boat across that stretch of water. Madness. And the thing is, what you try and imagine is yourself in this situation and how you would have behaved, which is, I would have completely lost it. But it's a different kind of people we're talking about, completely different. And I wonder what their aspirations and hopes were, you know, and maybe in that small mining town they thought the Dardanelles sounded like a real adventure.
Like his grandfather 90 years before him, Robert is travelling to the Dardanelles. In March 1915, 16 battleships attacked the forts guarding the Dardanelles Straits. But the Allies had underestimated the Turkish defences.
Guns here, guns across there, mines in the sea. There's no way you'd survive. You've got to take your hat off to them, really. Remarkable insanity to even try. So you've got this image of all these destroyers coming down this strait and then going, by bloody hell, sir, not going well here. And then about ships and, you know, all the way back. No chance.
The attack by sea failed, with the loss of 3 battleships and over 700 lives. Instead, the Allies embarked on a daring alternative on the other side of the peninsula. A massive land assault would take place here at Gallipoli. A month after the failed naval attack, 70,000 Allied troops would land at night on 6 beaches. The army would then sweep across the peninsula and capture the forts guarding the Dardanelles. That was the theory, anyway.
I'm feeling, or trying to imagine what my grandfather must have been feeling. And I'm also feeling a kind of sadness that I never really talked to him about it. But it's good I'm here. I mean, I feel like I'm paying my respects to him and acknowledging his life, because he did have a life. He wasn't just an old deaf man. He really did have a life. It's not a life I would have wanted, but I'm here to acknowledge it.
Robert's boat is sailing to where HMS Prince of Wales was anchored on the night of the invasion. Turkish historian Savaş Karakas is an expert on the Gallipoli campaign.
The operation started in silence. They went down from the big battleships, and the steamboat started to tow them. In the last distance, all the oars were muffled, not to make any noise, and they were rowing in great silence, without causing any splash.
But in the darkness, the first wave of boats drifted 2 kilometers off course. They landed here, under the sheer cliffs of what became known as Anzac Cove.
They were like sitting ducks, you know, and the Turks started to snipe first the officers, and this caused great panic. Everything went wrong, starting with a landing in the wrong place.
As battle intensified, the British Navy took on a new role, evacuating the wounded to hospital ships anchored offshore.
The wounded were taken to the hospital ships waiting here. Of course, the rowing boats were under heavy shell fire. Some of them sank here while they were trying to hospitalize, trying to find a place for the wounded.
Remarkably, 90 years after the Gallipoli campaign, the wreck of a British boat still lies in the waters off Anzac Cove. The wreck is 30 meters below the surface.
What is saying here, Saraj?
The divers are okay, they're descending now.
It's coming into view now. There she is. Closer. 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 It's a rowing boat.
Yeah.
It's a rowing boat. Wow.
We can never know if this sank on the morning of the 25th of April or later in the campaign, whether it sank while carrying fresh troops ashore or whether carrying wounded to the hospital ships. We don't know it, because 48 boats like this were used. Depending on the size, maybe 30 or 60 soldiers were filling them up.
This is amazing, amazing footage, this. I want to take this back to my family, let them see this. So your grandfather might have been in there 19 years ago.
This small vessel is like a time capsule, you know. It's a sad feeling. It's resting on the bottom of the sea, and the soldiers that were crowding on it, there's no sign of them.
But you see, I can only rejoice. You say it's very sad, but my grandfather escaped from that. You know, he was rescued, pulled aboard, went back to Prince of Wales, cup of tea, back again.
Maybe this is the boat that he was on.
Hang on.
Do you know the dates?
Hang on. He's pointing to something. What's he pointing at?
There's something there. Under the waterline.
That's the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at this.
God, that could be the boat.
There.
I've got it in the diaries, in the war diaries. This guy wrote about this boat that was shelled, and it sank immediately. And he rescued and pulled in all the survivors onto his boat. This is it. This is the boat he's talking about. I know it is. I mean, the description in that diary is perfect. Fits it exactly. And that would have gone straight down. And you could imagine those men panicking in the dark. I sound like my mother now, very superstitious, but I just got a very strange feeling this boat was rowed at some point by my grandfather.
Looking at that dead boat down there, on 90 feet down, couldn't be sad when I was seeing that because he escaped. But you can only imagine what was going through his mind and what it took away from him. It must have been horrendous. I think I'm nearer to the truth now. I can understand why he became the recluse he did. And it wasn't just to do with the deafness. I think inside that head were many, many terrible thoughts. So yeah, I think a piece of Raymond went here, a little bit of his spirit.
The stalemate at Gallipoli continued for 259 days. Only in December 1915 did the order come to evacuate the demoralized troops. "100,000 Allied and Turkish soldiers had been killed. 500,000 men wounded.
There are so many cemeteries all over this cove, and it could have been that Raymond, my granddad, could have been buried here amongst the fallen. It is a miracle, really. Both grandfathers survived the First World War. Yeah, all in all, I think I'm fairly lucky to be here. I feel what I've learnt from this is a sense of where I come from and being proud of where I come from. You know, I had to change things because I wanted to be an actor, and therefore I had to change my speech. Little did I know by doing that I was actually changing my attitudes towards where I came from and to where I wanted to go, you know, and I suspect now I should have been a little bit prouder of these people. I will carry on now. I think I need to find out a little bit more, but I think everyone should do this. It's very cathartic. It's very good for the soul, because you can't run away. You know, past will always be with you, and their past, and it's handed down. Families are fascinating, and they're full of secrets and surprises, and there's no such thing as an ordinary family.
If you would like to know more about members of your family who served in the military, visit the BBC website. You'll find detailed advice and helpful guides to get you started with your research. Go to bbc.co.uk/familyhistory.